Good morning, friends, and welcome to my kitchen. It is Thursday, August 1st, and today I'm going to take you through a full day of eating, show you everything that I eat, all my meals through the day. And I am tracking macros, so I'll show you a little bit of that as well. Hopefully you'll get some good information, good ideas from this, so let's do it.
Alright, sit. Lie down. Good boy. Good job, honey. Good job.
Alright, you guys, I am headed to the gym. So I've got my energy drink. This is the Alani Nutrition energy drink. And I don't recommend or push energy drinks by any means. I never even drank them until probably 8 months, a year ago, and it was whenever I was on night shift and I was exhausted, and it got me through my shifts. But I don't recommend overdoing caffeine for sure. But these just make me feel good, make me feel energized, make me feel super happy, and help me have a lot more energy for my workout, so I drink them here and there. And this one is really good. It's the peach rings, sour peach rings flavor, and Alani Nutrition's energy drinks have 200 milligrams of caffeine, which is kind of on the lower end as far as energy drinks go. Like Bang energy drinks have 300 milligrams. That's a lot. And I didn't drink all of my coffee this morning, so I feel okay drinking this to give me a little boost before my workout. So I'm gonna go hit shoulders and triceps, and I will see you guys at my next meal. Alright, so it is a few hours later now. I finished at the gym, and then I literally had to run home, shower really fast, and run to an appointment because I was running super late. So I didn't get to eat my post-workout meal as soon as I normally would, but I'm about to make it now. I also picked up a green tea from Starbucks, and I get just the iced unsweetened green tea. I think it tastes great without anything added to it. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, that kind of thing. And I also just got a package in the mail that I want to show you guys. So this is the First Form OptiGreens. And I just ran out of the greens powder that I was using before, and I've heard so many people rave about First Form's OptiGreens. So I'm going to give it a try. I usually take my greens in the morning before I eat breakfast, but you can take them any time of the day. So I'm going to have them here in just a second before I eat my lunch. And this has great ingredients in it. And it's low temperature processed, which is super important when it comes to proteins, when it comes to nutrient dense powders like this, because high temperatures will kill the nutrients in the product. So that's super important. So they did a great job with that. So I'm interested to see how they taste. You can't really expect greens powders to be like super delicious, but hopefully this will have a pretty good taste. So I'll let you guys know here in just a second. All right, so right off the bat, these have a really good smell, and the color is a really dark green, which is probably because they do process it at a really low temperature. Because if you think about it, like when you cook vegetables, they kind of get that pale, gross, not so bright green color. So that's a good indication that these held on to their nutrients. So I'm doing 2 scoops because that's a serving. And I just eyeballed about a cup of water. And then I use this little, it's actually a frother, but it's just like a little handheld blender. I got it off Amazon, and it works really well to like really mix these up. I will rinse that off here in a second, but here they are. Okay, now for the taste test. Like I said, they smell pretty good. Okay, wow. So coming from me as somebody who has had many different greens powders, so I'm kind of used to the taste for one thing, but I've also tasted a lot. And I've had some in the past that were like overly sweetened with like stevia or something like that. I have to say, like, y'all think I'm crazy, but this actually tastes really good. Like, I enjoy drinking this. The other thing that I usually find with greens, so I'll see when I get to the bottom of this, is that sometimes they have this like gritty texture, especially once you get to the bottom of the glass. So I didn't really get that. Okay, I'm really impressed. I'm probably sold on these greens for a while. So I recommend, based on taste and texture, and the way that they're processed, as far as like seeing results, things that greens are good for. They're great for your digestion. They're great for your skin, your gut health, things like that. So I will see how I feel over the course of like a month and see if I notice any differences based on taking these greens. I have been taking another greens powder for probably like a week straight consistently, but I'll see if these make any kind of difference and let you guys know. But now I'm gonna whip up my lunch, so I'll show you what I make. Okay, so I love breakfast. I'm a huge breakfast person, so a lot of times when I'm off and I'm at home, I literally eat breakfast for lunch, and sometimes I'll eat it for dinner. Usually not both, but that's what I'm gonna make. So what I've got is uncured Canadian bacon. A lot of this stuff is Simple Truth brand because I love their stuff. It's good and it's really cheap for healthier food with good ingredients. So 1 serving of this is 4 slices, and that's what I'm going to have. And I just fry it up in the pan. And then while that's cooking, I will get my eggs and egg whites ready. I've got 1 whole egg. And I'm going to do 12 tablespoons of egg whites. So, and I measure everything in grams, so that comes out to 184 grams. AKA a whole bunch of egg whites. And I really like making eggs this way, because for one thing, it's higher protein with not quite as much fat, but also I just like the taste. It's a little bit lighter and fluffier with all the egg whites. So I'm going to add some salt and pepper. and whip it up. And I like to scramble these most of the time. Sometimes I'll do an omelet instead, just like put it in the pan and put a little spinach and sometimes some like feta cheese or something like that in there. That's also good. But lately I've just been on a scrambled egg kick. So as soon as the Canadian bacon is finished, I'll do that. But I'm also going to have spinach, just some sauteed spinach. And I'm doing 50 grams of this, which looks like a lot when it's raw, and then you cook it and it's like nothing. So there's that. So I'll saute that right before I do my eggs. It's probably time to flip these babies without burning myself. And then I'm also going to have an English muffin. These are the light whole grain English muffins. I toast these and I put some jam on them. And I found this jam that's pretty low in sugar. It has some sugar added to it, but honestly I'm not afraid of sugar. If you have sugar in moderation and your overall calorie intake is not excessive, then you're going to be fine. So I like to add a tablespoon of this to my English muffin. So I'm going to toast this and get these on my plate and saute the spinach. And this is avocado oil spray. That's what I like to use. The main reason I like to use that is because avocado oil has a higher smoke point, which means it can get a lot hotter before it actually starts smoking and burning, basically. So that's why I like to use that for pretty much all of my cooking. It doesn't really have much of a taste, like I don't notice any taste from it. A little salt and pepper on here. And I saute this pretty lightly because I don't want to like cook the heck out of it and it be super like wilted into nothing. That's pretty good right there. Okay, and then I'm going to cut the heat back just a little bit for my eggs because for scrambled, I had it on medium. For scrambled, I like it to be a little bit slower to cook, so I'm going to let that cool down just a little bit. And I'm also going to have a cutie, or like a little clementine. Let me find a different one. Because, for one thing, I have realized that I'm kind of low on potassium all of the time. My coach Nick kind of helped me realize that and recommended that I increase it. So spinach is pretty high in potassium and citrus fruit is also pretty high. So I'm going to have one of these with my lunch as well. So let's fry up these eggs. And this is such a fast and easy meal. That's one reason another reason besides that I just love it, that I eat this a lot because I can literally whip it up in like 5 minutes. So let me toast up my English muffin and I'll be right back. And while I'm waiting for that to toast, I'll just kind of tell you guys about weighing and measuring food. So I do this, I've started weighing food since I've started tracking macros, which was like a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. And the reason I do that is so that my numbers are actually accurate, because if you just try to like eyeball things, even if you put them in measuring cups, it's not going to be nearly as accurate as weighing it on a scale. And it's also a lot easier. Like if you think about using like 5,000 different measuring cups and tablespoons and stuff like that throughout the day and having to wash all that, this is a lot easier because I can just put it on here and like, so for instance with a container like this, I will like take out the amount that I need and it'll subtract it from here, and so I can do it that way. Or you can also like add things gradually onto the scale and it'll measure it for you, and you don't have to use up so many measuring cups and wash them and things like that. So I've found that it's actually a lot easier. But this is a really big thing if you are tracking calories, tracking macros, because it's so easy to like way underestimate what you're eating. Like people use the example of a tablespoon of peanut butter a lot. Like if you just like dip it out and try to like eyeball it, a lot of times you're going to be way over, or you might be way under. So this just makes sure that I'm consistently accurate with my food. So that's something to keep in mind if you are tracking macros, tracking calories, to actually do the things necessary to make sure that it's accurate. I mean, and you don't want to like drive yourself crazy over it. Like if I like put an extra gram of or 3 of egg whites or whatever, I'm not going to like freak out about it. But it just helps me get a lot closer to being exact with my food. So I've got this English muffin in half. I'm going to do a tablespoon, which is 20 grams. So I just zero it. And I'm actually going to take half, so I'm going to take 10 grams. Wait a minute. What are you doing? Okay. So I'm going to take 10 grams, maybe, and put it on one half and then get another 10 grams for the other half. That way it's like actually split evenly between the two pieces of English muffin. And that's how I do it. Like if I'm doing peanut butter or something out of container where you kind of have to spoon it out, I'll just put the container on there and then spoon out the amount that I want, and it measures it for you. So there's 20. Spread that over. And I seriously love this meal. Like I never get tired of this. I could eat it all the time. I don't know about y'all, but I love breakfast food. So I'll show you. Here is the final product. Voila. Alright y'all, so it's only a couple hours later, but I am hungry. I've just been doing a little bit of work for my training business, but starting to feel a little hungry, and also I have a ton of carbs left to eat. And this is something that has been really good for me with macro tracking, because I didn't start tracking macros to lose weight or anything like that. I just realized that my intake was not as consistent as it could be, especially when it comes to like protein intake and stuff like that. And I wanted to make that more consistent and make sure that my nutrition is supporting my goals, because I lift really heavy, really intensely in the gym, and I need fuel to allow my body to do that and make sure that I'm like able to progress with my workouts. If I'm under eating sometimes, not because I do it intentionally, just because I'm like busy through the day, if I'm out of the house for a while, something like that. In the past I would have just not eaten as much as I needed. So this makes sure that I get as much as I need every day, a consistent intake, and then I'm also not like going crazy and eating way too much on other days. So that's why I like doing this. But I'm gonna have a little snack. So I've got cereal, yes, cereal, all the carbs. And I used to eat cereal all the time, and then I kind of went through a phase where I wasn't eating it as much, but I really like it. And I have regular cow's milk, and I also have almond milk. I kind of switch between the two, and it's usually based on my macros, like what I have left, because cow's milk is actually one of the higher sources of protein that you can have. It's higher carbs and higher protein. So if I'm needing that in my macros, I'll go with the regular milk. If I'm needing a lower calorie option, then I'll go with almond milk, because it's like less than half the calories of skim milk. So that's what I do. But I've got this Special K protein cereal. It's multi-grain. It's got 15 grams of protein in a serving, so I'm going to have that. So I need 30 grams. So 30 grams of this. And 30 grams of honey bunches of oats. One more. Alright, close enough. milk, I'm doing 8 ounces of milk. And I just zero the scale in between each one and then hit the number of grams. So 8 ounces is 240 grams. And one little great byproduct of tracking macros is you get really good at mental math because you're constantly like adding up and dividing macros to make sure you hit the right numbers with your grams. But that is my little afternoon snack to hold me over until I have dinner tonight. Alright, you guys, so it is dinner time and I have decided to make some salmon, jasmine rice, and mixed veggies. So I'll show you guys how I do that. I've got the oven preheating right now. I'll show you my ingredients over here. So we've got, this is literally just a piece of frozen salmon, wild caught salmon, and I measured it at 6 ounces. And then I will put a seasoning on there. I like to use this Primal Palette New Bay seasoning. All of their seasonings are so good. I have several of them because they have really good ingredients and they taste really great. I'll spray it with this avocado oil first. And then I'm going to have half of this package of jasmine rice. It's literally just a microwave packet of rice. It's pre-cooked and then you just heat it back up. These are so easy. I use them a lot. I know it probably sounds pretty lazy to use pre-cooked rice instead of cooking myself, but honestly, any kind of steps like this that you can take that will make you more likely to actually make food for yourself and pick the healthy option, go ahead and do that. Like, yeah, it's a little bit more expensive too, but these packets aren't that crazy expensive either. So things like that I can do to set myself up for success and make it a little bit easier to have healthy meals, I definitely do them. And then I'm literally just gonna have this entire bag of steam fresh veggies, the broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, microwave it, put a little seasoning on it, and I'm good to go. So I'm gonna get this rolling. Alright, so I sprayed this with avocado oil and put the New Bay seasoning on top. And then since it's frozen, I'm gonna cover it with aluminum foil first and cook it for 10 minutes and then take the foil off to cook it for 20 to 25. So that's what I'm gonna do. My friends, this is the beauty of flexible dieting, if it'll ever focus. Sort of. Okay, so I've got half-baked Ben and Jerry's. I'm gonna have a little bit of nut butter and 2 mini Reese's cups as my macro cap, and I am hitting all my numbers perfectly. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm super excited about this. Alright friends, so I am gonna dig into this ice cream here in just a second, but I just wanted to talk to you guys for a little bit about macro tracking and about flexible dieting, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about it, for one thing, because what it does not mean is, it does not mean that you just eat whatever you want as long as it fits in those numbers, those macros that you have, because micronutrients are super important too, and you'll feel like crap if you eat a ton of junk food all the time. You'll be bloated, your skin won't feel good, nothing will feel good if you're filling your macros with unhealthy, not nutrient dense foods. So that's one thing that I really wanted to stress. And I also just wanted to say that macro tracking, yes, it works. Like 100% it works, because it's a scientific, mathematical way to eat so that you can meet your goal, whether that's losing weight. So if you want to lose weight, you're gonna want to eat in a caloric deficit. That's like the number one rule if you're wanting to lose weight, is to eat in a caloric deficit. And it's hard to do that and be sure that you're doing that if you aren't tracking your food, but it can be done. You can just make little switches in your lifestyle and your diet here and there, increase your activity, decrease some sweets and junk food here and there, and you'll see progress. But macro tracking will get you there a lot quicker. And then on the flip side, if you're trying to gain lean muscle mass, you need to make sure that you're eating plenty of protein. So that's the reason that I wanted to track macros, part of the reason. So it's just a way to be more efficient in getting towards your goal. But just don't watch this video and then think, oh, well, I need to track macros now. If you feel like that's a good fit for your lifestyle, then go for it. And I think it's also a very good way to educate yourself about food, because you realize what is in the food that you're eating. So you may realize that, oh, that salad that I ate from that restaurant is actually way higher in calories, higher in fat than like a piece of chicken, veggies, and rice, or a potato. Like, it kind of puts things into perspective and helps you realize what's actually in the food that you're eating. So I think that if you don't really have that knowledge base, it's a very good way to gain that. So that can be a good reason to do it. And it also can take away some of the temptation that you feel towards food sometimes, because when you're tracking macros, and if you're doing it in the best way possible, then you're planning ahead quite a bit. So when you plan ahead and you've already kind of planned out your food, then you're at work or you're at like a get together and there's all this junk food around you, and where normally you would just like reach and grab things, you're more conscious of what you're eating. So you're like, that's not going to fit into my macros, so I'm not going to eat that. But you have to be careful with that at the same time. You have to allow yourself the flexibility here and there to have those things, because you don't want it to become this over restrictive thing either. So it's a very fine balance, but it can be helpful with that, with kind of regulating, if you have a hard time regulating yourself and, you know, keeping yourself from just thoughtlessly reaching for things. So I think it can be helpful for that. But like I said in the very first YouTube video I made about my story, if you haven't watched that, go back and watch it. But I ate intuitively for a really long time, and it works really well for me. And like, I didn't change to tracking macros because intuitive eating, like, I decided it wasn't for me, and I decided that I you know, wasn't doing well enough with my health and nutrition with just eating intuitively, because I really did really well with that. But for one thing, I thought, you know, what will happen if I really dial in my nutrition, if I really just like nail it down and hit it hard, make sure my intake is consistent, make sure I'm always getting enough protein, things like that. What will that do for my physique and for my performance? Because like I talked about earlier, sometimes, you know, you like go throughout your day and you're like, oh shoot, I haven't eaten in like however many hours, or, you know, the opposite in the spectrum can happen sometimes and you overdo it. And so I wanted to know, like, what can happen and how can I really push myself and challenge myself and get some awesome results. And that's the second part of it, was I wanted a challenge. Like, I am a very competitive person, I'm a very driven person, and lately I had just been feeling like I needed that extra challenge. I needed something to push myself, to challenge my self-discipline, to challenge my effort. And I felt like this would be a really good way to do that, and just, you know, push myself a little more in this area and add the nutrition piece to the training piece, and just kind of dial everything in. So I just really wanted a challenge, basically. And going along with that, like, I'm not going to track macros for the rest of my life. This is kind of it's a season that I'm going through where I'm wanting to be more particular and push myself a little more. And then there will be seasons where I want to let up and relax a little bit more, but still still the overarching theme always has to be health and balance and moderation, and you know, finding a harmony with yourself and food and exercise, you know, because regardless of the method that you choose to approach health and fitness, if it's not balanced and it's not moderated, then you're not going to be happy, you're not going to stick with it, you're not going to get the long-term results that you want. So it has to be in harmony with you and your goals and your lifestyle, and you have to feel good about it. I just want to encourage you guys to take this video not so seriously where you're like, okay, I'm gonna literally eat everything that she ate throughout the day, because your energy expenditure and caloric demand is probably a lot different than mine. It could be a lot more, it could be a lot less, and I don't want you to take this and be like, I need to eat what she eats. So please don't feel like that's what you need to do. I just hope that this gives you some ideas of, you know, meals that you can have, and kind of a little insight into how macro tracking works and weighing your food and things like that. And also, I wanted you guys to see that, you know, eating healthy is not this like way up here unattainable thing. Like, my meals weren't super extravagant, they were super easy. Like, I use a lot of kind of pre-prepared things. And I purposefully, like, I wasn't going to come on here and like make this really fancy dinner that I don't normally make, because for one thing, that's not realistic, but for another thing, then it gives this idea that like to eat healthy you have to like put in all this effort and make this gourmet food, and that's totally not the case. Like, this is very typical of what I eat during the day. So I just wanted to show that to you guys, and show you that you know, you don't have to overcomplicate things, and you can still have like ice cream and Reese's cups and things like that. And that's something that in the past I didn't think fit into a healthy lifestyle. And that was such a huge mistake, because I was so restrictive with myself. And I know people have different values about like the ingredients of foods and things like that, and there was a time where I was more strict about those things, and I valued that a whole lot. But I think I've just kind of found more of a middle ground with that, and I'm really happy there. So I hope that this video was helpful to you. I hope you got something out of it. Comment down below anything that you gained from it, anything that you want to see in the future, and I'd be happy to do that. But I had fun making this. It's funny, I kind of felt, so whenever I was younger, I was always making like cooking shows and stuff. Like, literally we had this like ancient camcorder, and I would set it up and I would make cooking shows and video myself pretty much like taking leftovers out of the fridge and like heating them up. But I had so much fun doing that, and for a long time I was like really interested in like cooking and things like that. So doing this today kind of brought me back to those days, so it's kind of funny. But I really had fun doing this, and I will definitely do more of these for you guys if you want me to, so let me know. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're wanting to see more content from me. But I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, so I was uploading these videos and getting ready to edit them, hence these glasses, they're blue blockers. But I realized that I didn't show you guys the supplements that I take at night, and it's really pretty simple. So all I take at night are a magnesium supplement to help with sleep. Focus please. And I take prenatal gummies. No, I'm not pregnant, but these are just really good vitamins. Prenatals have a lot of good things in them. And I take the gummies. Yes, I know they have a lot of sugar, relatively a lot. I think it's only like 4 grams, but I take these because I literally look forward to it every night. That sounds super silly and simple, But I actually like taking these, and it's kind of like a sweet little thing to have at the end of my night. Plus, it's my daily vitamin. So that's why I do that. And I really, really like them. So that's my nighttime supplements.